Good morning. Good morning. I'm just waiting for, we're going to let a few more people in the room here. How are
Morning.
we doing today?
I'm a little emotionally raw.
Uh-oh. Okay.
It
I'm
had nothing to
tired.
do with real estate, just that last night deal.
No, yeah, of course. I totally get it. That's the crazy part about our lives is that we are humans, right? We're business owners, but we're all humans first. And
Yeah,
we feel things, we get our feelings hurt, miscommunications and misunderstandings are hurtful. And at the end of the day, we still have to show up and run our business like our feelings aren't hurt. And unfortunately,
absolutely.
sometimes they are. And we have to put those aside and still show up to be who we're supposed to be. And that's not easy when you're hurt. It's not easy when your feelings, but feelings don't pay your bills. So that's the other
No,
thing that I want to remind you about is you can feel it all you want to, but ain't nobody cashing any checks based on their feelings. Okay.
girl, my most alarming thing last night was the SWAT call out was 3 hours, and I had two listings to write up.
So you were stuck in your house during that whole SWAT debacle. If y'all don't know, Felicia posted on Facebook yesterday because anyway, she posted on Facebook yesterday that the SWAT was across the street from her house and it was a
No,
3 hour
ma'am, they had
endeavor.
my house surrounded.
Yeah. Oh my
They had
God.
my house surrounded with rifles out because my crazy next door neighbor.
Wow. You're
So
going to be on
my,
one of those episodes of Neighbor Wars.
my
Have you ever
husband was
seen that
giving them
show?
water and towels because it was pouring down rain, bug spray.
Did you ever find out why the SWAT team was there and what they did?
Yes, my husband called 911 because the girl next door came banging on the door. She was all bloody and she was like, "Help me."
Oh my gosh, that sounds very scary and very traumatic. Like, but I would have called 911 too. Like, are we in danger here? Like, period. I would want to know, are we in danger? Are we safe inside our own house? You don't know
Yeah,
how
and
things like that pop off. That's
he
crazy.
starts coming and saying, "Don't call the police." And he's like, "Sorry, dude."
I hear you. Okay. Well, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Thanks for sharing the story with us. That this is the crazy life we live, right? Good morning. Good morning. Manda was asking what city was that in?
It was in Yulee, Florida, on the outskirts
Yulee.
of Fernandina Beach.
That's very interesting. I saw another very disturbing news story this morning that my wife was telling me about that a woman was accused of shoplifting and the police shot her 1-year-old baby while she was holding it. And I'm still kind of shook up by even just hearing the story. And I just don't,
Yes.
So let's move on to some positive things.
Real estate's positive. Let's go.
Let's move on. And if I show up for a day that real estate is the positive of the day, man, we're struggling. But you're all here. Thank you so much for spending your mornings with me. It's the third Wednesday of the month when I show up to take over the Agent Alliance and try to deliver something that is valuable and impactful for your businesses. I am very grateful that you are here today. Today, excuse me. Let me introduce myself for those of you that don't know me. My name is Laura Dahl. I live in Asheville, North Carolina. I have sold real estate in 4 states. I've been doing this 27 years. I've owned 2 brokerages, and now I lead a team in North Carolina and in Tennessee. And my mission is to give back to as many agents as I possibly can to help them find clarity and peace in their real estate business. So, I want to challenge something that a lot of us believe. Most of us believe that we have an income problem because a lot of us suffer from inconsistent income. A lot of us think, oh my gosh, I don't have enough leads. I need more clients. I need more deals. I need more revenue. How many of you think that you agree with that statement? That's how a lot of us feel. And I know Amy's driving, so Amy, you can just thumbs up me because I can see you, but don't chat anything. But the rest of you in the chat, if you'll tell me, like, is that how you're feeling? You feel like you need more leads. You feel like you need more clients. You need more deals. You need more revenue to help you offset the inconsistent income. Is that relatable to anybody? Oh yeah, I see the chat. Yes, 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 yes. And I would agree that that was pretty much how I operated most of my career. Um, and so And sometimes that's very true, but after 27 years, I'll tell you that I've learned something really important, and that is that most people don't actually have an income problem. And I know y'all are going to think I'm crazy, but you actually have a chaos problem. The chaos problem that you have is actually really expensive. It's costing you. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about what chaos actually costs you, where it hides in your business, and how structure. I'm going to cover my own face up because I don't need to see my own face. Where it hides and how structure can help you rebuild what chaos actually broke. You guys excited? You ready? Let's get into it a little bit. All right. Raise your hand if any of these sound familiar. You feel busy all day. So I'm going to read them for you, Amy, and for people like Amy that are driving. Raise your hand if you feel busy all day. You still feel behind. You drop the ball sometimes, and you know that you're capable of more.
So
Amen.
Laura, that
Right?
the busy all day is definitely me, which is why I'm exhausted today. And
Yes.
I feel like I need a day off. This is supposed to be my day off, and here I am at a webinar. But
Well, I'm
I
grateful that you're
valuable
here.
information.
Thanks for being here for us. You can get back to your day off. I promise you as soon as we're done, I hope. But I agree with you. How you're describing how you feel is how so many of us feel on a daily basis is that we're busy, 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 busy. And if we reflect at the end of the day, how much did we actually accomplish or finish or get done? Or did the things that we did today lead to a paycheck? Most of us would really be shocked to see that we're very busy being fabulous, but not really busy earning income sometimes, right? So the reality is that somehow we're still feeling behind. We're dropping the ball sometimes. We know we're capable of more, and something feels off. And maybe you're working hard. The reality is that most of the coaching clients that I work with are working very hard. It is not for lack of effort, it is not laziness. It's really that things feel heavier than they should right now. And if that sounds familiar to you, you're 100% in the right room because I know that feeling very well. I'm going to ask for commitments of the call today. For those, oops, I went the wrong way. Um, for commitments on the call today, obviously, if you are capable and able to, please leave your video on for me. It helps me as a speaker see if I've lost you, if you're with me. It just helps me stay engaged with you. If you're driving and whatnot, don't worry about your video. Just be safe and keep your distractions to a minimal. If you could participate, if you would. I don't want this to be just me talking to you. I want this to be interactive and I want you to share so that other people can learn from your experiences or questions as well. And then number four, we always tell you to make someone's day. Take one thing that you've learned from this call and post it and share the newsletter. Do something to make someone else's day and to help them. I already told you a little bit about my story, but in telling you that was not just so that I can brag on myself. It was so that I can tell you, I promise you, I've been where you are. In 27 years in this business, I have sold in 4 states, which means I had to learn all 4 states' nuances, how they do things. I had to relearn contracts. I had to relearn the culture. I had to learn areas, neighborhoods over and over and over again. I also have owned brokerages. And when you're supporting a brokerage that has 79 agents for it, you want to talk about exhaustion. In that period of my life, I was working 100 hours a day, 100 hours a week, a day. Yeah, 100 hours a week. And I was barely keeping up and I wasn't sleeping. I was stressed out all the time. My health greatly suffered. And I was exhausted, overwhelmed, and 100% burned out. I was carrying way too much. And I was the decision maker, the problem solver, the follow-up system, the reminder system, the operations department. Everything flowed through me. If you can relate to that, give me a thumbs up in the chat or a yes or a heart or something. If you are the bottleneck in your business, that you are carrying the responsibility of everything, tell me about that in the chat if you would. So the biggest thing is that there was a lie that I believed. And some of you may resonate with this better than others, but I'm a Capricorn. I'm also a 2 on the Enneagram scale, but if you don't know anything about Capricorns, we are workaholics by nature. Like we will wake up, we will take charge and just pump out and get it done. We also are naturally born leaders a lot of times, and we'll be the first ones to step up to take it all on. Um, and that is the lie that I believed for years, that I just needed to work harder, that if I just woke up earlier, if I worked later, if I pushed harder, if I sacrificed more, if I slept less, if I just kept grinding, I thought if I just worked hard enough, that eventually everything would be okay and I would make the money that I knew I was worthy of making, but it didn't. And effort alone doesn't solve structural problems. I was trying to outwork chaos, and what I found was that doesn't work. But I want to share with you the bigger thing for me is that the hustle culture that we live in is we are all trying to keep up. We are all trying to make sure that we put in enough work that it is a reflection of who we are and the business that we run. And the challenge is that in our industry, how we show up doesn't necessarily always equate to a paycheck. How we show up does not reward us. The results of what we're doing today do not show up for 30, 60, 90 days. And we don't always have evidence of what we're doing today as working. So we believe the lie that if we just work harder, it'll produce the result faster. If I stay up later and just finish this done, I'll be ahead for tomorrow. But then you show up tomorrow and you're exhausted. The real problem here, and the truth that I had to face, is that the problem wasn't laziness. The problem, it wasn't lack of discipline either. It wasn't lack of ambition. I'm probably one of the most ambitious people that you know. And I will tell you a little secret about me. For years and years and years, probably starting in 2013, my password for everything was millionaire with that year. 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, on and on and on until 2025, where my password for everything was millionaire with that year. And my friends and my family used to make fun of me. You still using that same password, millionaire? And they would laugh at me because of how many years I had had that as my password that truly, clearly I wasn't a millionaire, but I was trying to manifest it. That was my plan. That was my goal. I'm a very driven person. Um, and I was drowning in chaos. The realization after losing my mom, after a 3-week diagnosis, she had been diagnosed with a brain tumor and passed away 3 weeks later, it caused me to stop dead in my tracks and reevaluate everything that I do. My business, my relationships, my friendships, the chaos that existed in my world. For my mom to be here and gone 3 weeks later was a wake-up call for me. And it was a wake-up call that is identifying truly the kind of life that I wanted to live and the business that I run and operate being a reflection of what I want in my life. And it wasn't about the pursuit of money necessarily, as the password being millionaire in whatever year it was. It was about the pursuit of the work, of the end result of could I provide for myself and my family, and could I make enough money to live the lifestyle that I wanted to have, but at what cost? What did that cost me? And what was the cost of the chaos that lived in my life? And that's really the tricky part here. And let me explain what chaos really looks like. Chaos looks like, I'll do that later. I'll get to it eventually. Or I forgot. I was supposed to send a CMA to this seller and I didn't get around to it today, so I'll do it tomorrow. Or I forgot to follow up with this person that I met at an open house. I forgot to do X, Y, or Z. All of us suffer from that. Chaos also sounds like I know I've got that somewhere in our busyness of our desk. We know that we've got whatever the thing is that we're looking for, but we're not exactly sure where it is. Or I'm really slammed and I'm really busy, but I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. I don't feel like I'm doing what I should be doing to make money. Or I'm trying really hard. Anybody relate to any of these things? Just feeling that chaos kind of taking over where you feel like you're not in control of your business? Let me check the chat here to see how we're doing. I'm sorry I got emotional on you guys this morning. I apologize. It's a rough that May and June always brings it up, and I feel it deeply, and so it comes out deeply. But I didn't mean to get all up in my feelings today with y'all, and I apologize. I feel like we're all exhausted, and reading the chat, I can tell you that we're all feeling very similarly. Um, and thank you guys for saying you're so sorry. Um, my daughter misplaced my keys months ago. My daughter, whom I'll miss when she goes off to, oh my God, that's the most heartbreaking. Leaving your kid at college almost killed me. I stood in that parking lot, squeezing the life out of my son, not wanting to let go. And so I feel you. I always feel for mamas this time of year when we're sending our kids off to college for sure. Um, Found my keys I misplaced months ago and taught me how to turn my video on in my computer. It had nothing to do. I love that. I'm so sorry. I was trying to see what that was, if that was something I needed to address. At all the time, lots of chaos. Patricia, I feel you. And that's how this business feels for so many of us. I'll tell you very, very clearly, most of us get out of licensing lost as a puppy, like no idea what we're supposed to do because obviously everything in licensing does not teach you how to actually do this job or do this business. And so we come out so excited at the height of our excitement, so prepared for what we're going to do in our business, but we really don't know the how. So we go to a brokerage that tries to teach us the how and how to be successful, and most will give us some support and tools and maybe even some mentorship or coaching or something like that. But at the end of the day, we are all running our own individual businesses that are impacted by our chaos that exists in our life. Everything that happens in your home that is chaotic shows up in some way, shape, or form in your business. So let's talk about the hidden chaos, the hidden cost of chaos. Chaos steals more than people realize. It steals your time. It steals your money. It drains your energy. It damages your confidence, and eventually it steals your peace. So I want you to look at that timeline. Chaos steals your time, it steals your money, it steals your energy, your confidence, and your peace. And these don't happen just one time. This happens over time, again and again and again and again. And that's the true cost, is not really the loss of money. This is a business, yes, and you are losing money through chaotic structure or lack of structure. You are losing time if you are doing activities that are not leading to a paycheck and are not things that are in alignment with what you value. You're losing energy when you are trying and trying and trying and working so hard and feeling like you're not getting anywhere. That is an energy suck. You are losing confidence when you're working so hard and then feeling like you're not getting where you should be. You're working so hard and it's not producing the results that you want. That steals your peace, right? That is the true cost of chaos. And chaos is very expensive. Here's the best part that I love about this whole class that I wrote is that you just don't get an invoice for the chaos. Nobody sends you a bill that says the missed follow-up that you forgot about cost you $12,000, or a delayed decision costs you $30,000, or too quick of a decision costs you 25. That is what I've been dealing with this week. I have a couple of coaching clients that had signed up for other coaching programs through other companies, and the value of that coaching program costs over $25,000 or $30,000, and they were not delivering what they promised. And they're in a contract that has impacted their transactions over the course of the next year. Making too quick of a decision costs some of these agents $25,000 or $30,000. Did they vet the program? Is the program in alignment with what they want to do? Often we end up investing a lot of our money in things that we think are going to make us more money. And the reality is that most of you already have everything that you need to run a highly successful business. You don't need more tools. You don't need even more leads. Most of you have enough business sitting in your pipeline, in your phone, in your CRM, in your relationships, in your database already. But the problem is that you have chaotic structure. How does that feel when I say that? because I lost the ability to see all y'all. Like, tell me how that feels when I say that. Anybody have a feedback on that?
Laura, I'm one of those agents that constantly ignores my pipeline. And I don't mean to say it as that I don't reach out ever. I mean that I could do so much more. I do connect on Facebook with a lot of my pals there. But it's not as frequent as it should be. And I think there's it's almost like a secret agent syndrome. I don't even advertise the fact that I'm an agent on my block, on my neighborhood block. It feels too close to home, I guess.
Okay, hold on one second. Who's talking right now? Because it doesn't show me who you are. I'm so sorry. And then number two, who is it? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, it's Katie Bassie.
Katie, thank you. I'm sorry. You were breaking, like everything you said. I think I heard you, but you were breaking up. So I was trying to struggle to even see your face so I could make out what was broken up. I heard you say that you are that you feel like, you are a secret agent in some way, and I didn't really get all the rest because it was breaking up, and I'm so sorry. If you have the ability to repeat that for us, that's totally great. You're breaking up, so I wasn't sure if it was your microphone or the wind or what that was. So Katie, if you have the ability to either repeat yourself or put it in the chat for us, that would help me be able to respond to you. I'm so sorry I didn't catch it. While we're waiting on Katie, anybody else have feedback on that? Oh, wait, where'd she go?
Laura, sorry about that. It's my fault.
Oh, I see you. Okay. It's okay, don't worry. Are you able to, I don't know if I lost her, if she's still here. Yeah, there you are. It's okay. If you have the ability, Katie, to put it in the chat for us, because I don't know if it's the mic, or there you are. Try again, one more time.
I put in the chat, just FYI.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
And it's just basically not wanting to advertise too close to home. It's I'm recording on my computer. In addition to your recording, I think there's some interference there. So it's my fault.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so I, as a coach, want to dive deep into what you said, like fearing of advertising too close to home. As a coach, that raises the hair on the back of my neck that I want to say, whoa, wait a minute. Why wouldn't you want to be 5 Mile famous and everybody that's in your local circle know who you are and what you do? And there's something to unpack there with you. And Katie, you and I can talk on our own about it. But if you told me that, that um, I don't advertise as often with my neighbors and I don't farm my Facebook pipeline as much as I should. And you're telling me that you have kind of like a little bit of a fear of tapping into the local part. You kind of like, I would say that there's something to uncover there about why you feel like you can't show up as your authentic self in your own space, right? Like who you are, who you serve, what you want to be known for with your next door neighbor, right? Not just the guy who lives on the other side of town. So there's something to unpack there for sure. And we can get into that at any time. Um, I'm just checking to see. Yeah. Okay. As long as you guys understand that, this chaos is actually costing you. While you may not receive an invoice for it, the reality is that you're paying for chaos every single day. And so what I recommend everybody do is what I call a cost of chaos analysis. I want you to evaluate, where is chaos costing, and to think about where chaos is costing you revenue. Where is chaos costing you opportunities? Where is chaos costing you relationships because you failed to follow up? You didn't show up as the professional that your friend thought that they were getting, right? What about your health? This is the part that I can speak to, like,
make a right, yes, the first light you get to me.
Um, I'm not sure.
Dwight Evans Library? That wasn't always called that, right? What? Yes, it's Dwight Evans on this. See how that things do
Who's
this? Oh,
talking? I'm not sure who's talking, but if you can mute yourself so that I can continue, that would be fantastic. Sorry about that.
Yep, Laura, I muted it. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, love. Okay, so let's talk about health. This is a big one that we all kind of glance over. You guys have heard me talk about it a few times, but obviously, after I lost my mother, I was very depressed. I was still working 100 hours a week. I did not want to address the grief that I was feeling, and so I put my head down and I threw everything I had into my work. And I worked for 5 years until I could force myself to feel the pain that I was feeling. But what suffered over those 5 years was my health. I gained over 100 pounds. I became too fat to even get life insurance. I started having serious health issues because of the stress. I was avoiding going to the doctors because I had some trauma related to losing my mom and I didn't want to go to the hospitals or the doctors. The chaos of my life was starting to take over every part of my life. And that chaos was costing me my peace. Can you guys all relate to that or understand how that chaos shows up and robs you of what you need to actually be able to do your business? So let's talk about the fact that this is where I want to pause for a second. I want to walk you through where people are the most frustrated, and that's because we are dealing with more stress than we've ever had to carry. We're dealing with an economy that is not very favorable right now to our industry in some areas. Our consumers are carrying more debt than they've ever had in their lives. Some of them have second mortgages and HELOCs and credit card debt. And some of our consumers don't have job security right now. We've been dealing with a lot of layoffs. We're dealing with rising interest rates. We're dealing with the cost of goods and services being more expensive than they usually are. And all of that erodes buyer confidence and seller confidence, which means that we don't have as much business as we did in 2021 through 2024 or 2025. Are some of you on this call experiencing that in your own market? Yes, I'm seeing hands being raised. Yes. We're dealing with a lot of clients who are much harder to please today. Are any of you dealing with buyers that are just picky, 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 and sellers who have unreasonable expectations right now? Right? All of that adds to our stress that we're carrying. All of that adds to the chaos in our business because we're dealing with a lot of people who are also running on emotions and running on stress. They're running on not having clarification about where what's next for me and is this even for me, right? One thing I want you to understand is that chaos does create friction. The chaos shows up in your world because of lack of systems, because it's not from lack of effort, it's the lack of systems and structure and repetition. That creates friction. The friction causes delays or causes you to show up in a different way than how you really want to show up for your business. And all of that equates to lost revenue, money that did not come in through the door. And I want to remind you, as much as most of us got into this business because we love helping people, we actually got into this business to earn a living. This is our profession. And so if you're losing revenue, as any business owner would do, no matter what, bless you, Faith, no matter what business we have, when you lose revenue, you have to find out where you're losing it and come up with a plan to fix it. Businesses who are constantly losing revenue do not make it. So, any business owner that you are, if you recognize that the chaos is creating friction and that the friction is causing you to not show up as your best self, and the actual cost of that is actual lost revenue. Let's do a quick exercise. I want you to think about one recent opportunity that stalled, delayed, or died. Maybe it was a lead that you forgot to follow up on. It could have been a contract deadline that you almost missed or you did miss, which is a no-no. A client communication that got delayed or a task sitting unfinished for weeks. And ask yourself, what did that actually cost you? Tell me in the chat if any of you had an experience recently that, what did that friction cost you? The chaos that you had? Something you didn't follow up on, something that you didn't show up your best version of yourself, client communication that got delayed. Tell me a little bit about, anybody want to share that experience with us and what it cost you?
I can talk. Can I talk instead of type?
Yes,
Okay.
please, Amy. Now, yes, tell me.
Because
please.
by the time I finally get it typed out without errors and
Mhm.
stuff, you guys are going to be on to the next subject.
I wanted you to talk. Yes,
Okay.
please. I wanted you to unmute yourself and share, please.
That's something that happens a lot to me. I'm very all about trying to get organized. I feel like all I do is try to get organized and get my
Mhm.
systems in place
Mhm.
and buy a lot of coaching and all kinds of things to grow my business, but I'm hardly ever really making the calls that I should be making and things like that. And I had a
Yep.
lead gen service and had it all in my CRM and stuff. And then one day I was going through all my old leads and I'm like, I'm going to start calling these people. And, I always go to Zillow because it's just easier to see if the house sold. And like,
Sure.
I can't tell you how many times it was just listed like the week before and I had waited months to look these people up. And all of a sudden I finally looked them up and they had just listed the house. And some of them, like the way where they were, or I knew something about them, it would have been an easy get and I missed
Yes.
it. So thousands of
Yes.
dollars.
Thousands. And I love that you quantified it with an amount, but more importantly, how did that make you feel?
It made me like, I don't know how to put it into words, but it made me feel bad about myself. Like, you were just lazy. Why didn't you just do this? You procrastinated too much.
Yeah. And you immediately started shaming yourself, saying you were lazy. And the reality is that the laziness is the first thing that comes to our mind because we know we're capable of more. But the truth is that if you had the structures and systems in place, you would not have waited months and months to reach out to them. They would have been on your radar and you would have done that a whole lot sooner and faster. And then you didn't even have to shame yourself, right? Because it's not laziness. The laziness showed up because you're exhausted doing the things you shouldn't be doing instead of the things that you're supposed to be doing that move the needle. Thank you for sharing that example, Amy. I appreciate that. I want to go back for just a second. I want to let somebody else tell too, but Katie, I'm going back to your secret agent syndrome because Stephen also commented and said, I felt the same way. Bad Amway feeling approaching friends and families until I could prove my skill and authority to the broader market. And after having broader success, I was comfortable showing my skills to those close to me. When I read that, what that tells me as a coach is that you have a confidence problem because you have a lack of competence. And I'll say that again. Your confidence comes from your competence. And what I mean by that is when you are prepared, when you are knowledgeable, when you know what your value is, when you know what you do to help a client, you are confident in what you do. Is that true? When we know what we're doing, we're confident, right? When we feel afraid to talk to our neighbor because we're afraid that they think we're trying to sell them something, what that tells me as a coach too is that you don't recognize that you're not a salesperson. And let me pause on that for a second. Excuse me. A salesperson has something that they have to sell you in order to make money. And the thing that they're selling you is something that you need typically or want. Your services as a real estate agent or a realtor, you are not here to sell anyone anything. I know you think you are because you're actually selling a house, but you're selling a service, not a house. Your service is to walk buyers and sellers through the process of buying and selling a house, not the actual physical house. Yes, you have to have skill set in selling the house and marketing the property, but your skill set is actually in the process from start to finish, and it's not about the actual house. So I'm going to challenge you, Katie and Steven, and anybody else that feels that way, is that stop looking at yourself as a salesperson and start looking at yourself as a consultant that helps people navigate real estate purchases and sales. You have to understand, and this is the question that I ask myself is, are my clients better off with my help than they are alone? I think we all can answer that to yes. They're better off with my help because I can help them avoid legal problems. I can help them make sure that they're negotiating, that someone is looking out for their behalf. I can protect them financially. I can protect them liability wise and legally. All of those are things, they're protections that I bring to the table. You guys all see that? It's not just selling a house. I'm helping people. So I want you to stop looking at yourself as a salesperson. And most of you have reluctance to call people, kind of like Amy was saying. She waited all this time to go by, right? And maybe it was because she had call apprehension because she felt like she was selling them. The call apprehension disappears when you recognize that you're not selling anyone anything, that you are offering your help. And my help is not something I sell. My help is me and my services. And I know you're better off with my help than you are without them, going it alone. So when you're having call reluctance or when you are not feeling like you need to make the call, I want you to tell yourself, am I reluctant to pick up the phone because I'm afraid that they might say no? Is anyone really going to yell at you? There might be 1 out of 100 calls where they say, don't ever call me again and cuss you out. Like, but that's not a normal call. That's not normal behavior. So I would ask yourself when you're feeling reluctant to call, what's the real thing that's holding you back from calling? What is the worst thing that's going to happen if you actually get that person on the phone? What's the worst thing that they're going to say? No, thank you. But you shot your shot. You put yourself there to receive the opportunity. If you're not making the call, how do you take advantage of the opportunity? If you don't put yourself out there, how do they know even what you do or how you can help them? You're offering assistance. Stop looking at yourself as salespeople. Okay? Faith said, have had 2 buyers wait to the last minute with their purchases. They ended up renting all within the past month. And that's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. The other part of the coach in me says, if your pipeline is so full of opportunities that when 2 people fall out, it is not devastating to you financially. It is not devastating to you emotionally. Your full pipeline gives you confidence to do your job tomorrow. Your full pipeline gives you the confidence to be okay when things like this slip out, when they fall through the net. Okay? Fabian says, I use Zillow. It's just easier. I'm check Zillow every day for sale by owners, like by owner sales every single day in Zillow. And I have a full rhythm that I do that checks Zillow, for sale by owner.com, and 3 other sites that I'm scouring for and scanning for listing opportunities every single day. Right? So I don't mind that you use Zillow at all. Florida condo versus condotel as of today, losing the deal because of funding. Closing was set for today, cost me $2,300. Not sure what I could have done differently though. Was surprised the lender didn't find out earlier and working, so I can't elaborate. Totally fine. Denise, I would say, I'm just going to address it because you put it in the chat. I would say you need to have a deep bench of lender partners that have a variety of products, especially ones that are known for rescuing other agents. I could give you 2 names of lenders that rescue deals that have been denied by others many times. You need to have a lender in your back pocket that knows guidelines forwards and backwards and knows how to get the deal done. The only way you can avoid things like this is being more proactive on the financing side and checking in with your lender earlier in the transaction to find out if this is going to go through or not. Are they solid? Do we have conditions? Do we even have an approval with conditions yet? And that's just being more proactive. Some of that is a system issue, a structure issue. I have systems in place that tell me when to check in with the lender. If I go under contract, when do I start calling the lender to check on that buyer's loan? What conditions they have, any problems that they foresee being an issue, so that I can pivot quickly to one of my other lenders if this one cannot do it. But you got to have a deep bench and you got to be solution driven when something falls apart. I would ask you, Denise, before you give up on it, see if you can chat. You can reach out to me and I can give you the name of a rescue lender that actually may be able to help. You can always try a last ditch effort to pull it back together and see if somebody else can make it happen. I have lenders that can do it in 7 or 8 days. So you may be able to resurrect it or save it. I feel confident in my ability. I just need the numbers to prove it. Close friends and family can be critical without results. I agree. And Katie, I would also say too that sometimes working with your family member is actually not a gift. That is not sometimes business that you actually want to take. Working with family, I see Jean shaking her head so hard, I almost saw something flew out her ears. She agrees with me. Working with family and friends can be the death of your relationship with them. Because here's the thing, your clients demand a certain level of expertise, and your family and friends typically do not see you with that level of expertise because they see you with your guard down. They still see you as a 14-year-old kid cousin that they used to play with. They don't see you as the adult who is accomplished and who is a professional that has been trained and knows what they're doing. It is also your family and friends have different expectations of you than sometimes your clients do. And those expectations are actually harder to meet with family and friends than it can be. So I feel that, trust me. I have the fear of becoming a listing agent and not feeling competent at doing the background work correctly. Oh, Jean, listings are leverage. Listings is freedom. Let me tell you why. I could be on a beach in Mexico with a cocktail in my hand and still make money with listings. Versus if I have buyers and only buyers, I have to be present, boots on the ground to show them houses it's not the same. And do not worry. The thing is about the feeling competent at doing the background work. That's a skill, right? That's just a skill you need to learn to feel more confident. But all that information of how to do that and to do that well is out here. And we have that to help support you. Don't let that hold you back, the fear of not feeling 100% confident about it right now. There's a process, right? But there's structure in that, and that's a skill that you can overcome. That's a skill you can learn, which is let me learn how to be a better listing agent, right? Let me sharpen my saw. That's an easy fix. By the way, Laura, been hitting the leads. Have since our chat, and I'm much more confident than the last time you and I met. I love that. Landed a few listing appointments and so far secured 2. They're going live this week. Yay! That's great. I love it. Yeah, please help me to find a good lender too. I work Houston and Austin market. My lenders work in all 50 states, so I'm happy to share that. I will drop it in the chat as soon as I finish talking here. I tried, he's buddies with his lender, a couple of younger guys. Well, his lender didn't get it done. His lender crapped the bed. So at this point, he's got to ask himself, does he still want this property or not? And is there a solution that we could come up with to keep the deal moving forward? Oh, Manda, I have the perfect resource for you. You asked, what kinds of questions do I need to ask to find a good lender? I also have that. If you want that, you guys can send me an email at Music City Experts with an S on the end of it, at gmail.com. musiccity.experts@gmail.com, and ask me for the questions for a lender, and I'll be happy to share those with you. I have those, and for a title company or attorney, how to vet those properly so that you know you're working with the best people for your clients. I don't enjoy working with family. They're the worst. Yes, yes. I do want their referrals, but I don't necessarily want to work with them. That's why I look for business with strangers. Well, Katie, I'll be honest with you. Strangers are a lot easier to work with than your friends or family. We already know that. I have my mother-in-law as a client. She gave me a 4.5 rating. I'm so sorry. I don't even mean to laugh about that. They had their 3 listings with another agent for 3 years, and with me, I sold all 3. Last one closing Friday within 10 months of the listing, and she gave you a 4.5. Your mother-in-law, the grandma to your children, gave you a 4.5. Wow. You know what I would have done? I would have made a social media post about that and say, see, not everybody can get a 5, even when you do a perfect job. Even my
Oh
mother-in-law
my
gave me a
gosh.
4.5.
My husband, he says, well, if she ever asks anything about how she is as a mother-in-law, say, I don't know. Yeah, good 4.5.
Oh my God. I think I love it. I love it.
Brutal.
I'm so sorry, but that's really funny. Okay, people think they need more leads, better tech, more motivation, more discipline. I want to talk about the things that just were in the chat. Did anything that was in the chat have anything to do with more leads? We weren't talking about more leads, right? We were talking about just things that have cost us, right? And I just want you to understand that you don't really need more leads. You might need a better system to attract better leads, more consistent delivery of leads. You might need better tech that helps you be organized, but a lot of you have a tech stack that is unbelievable. A lot of you on this call work for the same company I do, and I know what your tech stack is. You have every tool that you need to be successful. You don't necessarily need motivation. Most of you are here because you already are motivated. That's not the problem. And most of you have some discipline, but I will tell you, most of you don't have enough discipline. The issue with our industry is that there is no boss leaning over your shoulder telling you that you have to do these 10 tasks today to get paid. You are the boss, right? And so you don't have somebody breathing down your neck, but I would ask you at the end of the night, if you had a boss, before you put your head on the pillow, if you had to report to that boss of what you actually did today, would you be fired or would you get to keep your job for the next day? Most of us would have been fired if we had a boss saying, did you get these things done? Right? We have to insert structure where there isn't any in our business. Okay? Structure is not restriction. I have a lot of coaching clients that say, I'm not really good with structure. I've got ADD. I kind of resist structure. But structure gives you the framework to operate from that doesn't take into account feelings, stress that's happening at home, the life that's showing up, the day you don't want to do something. That's what structure gives you, is it gives you the framework to operate no matter how you're feeling, no matter how life shows up that day. You need clarity. You need to be crystal clear about what you do, who you serve, and what do you want to be known for. Most of you don't even have that. You just say, I'm a realtor. And I'm a realtor does not help you stand out from 26,000 other people in your state. So who do you serve matters. That's your specialization. That's your competency. That's where also where your confidence comes from, because I'm in my own lane. You can be in your own lane and still do residential real estate. It's how you do it and who you serve that matters. You need priorities. Most of you are prioritizing the wrong things. You're prioritizing playing on Facebook and Canva, playing. You heard me say it, playing. Because most of you, if you recognize really what your time was worth, that license that you have is a credential to print money in 100 different ways. There's so many ways to make money in real estate. Remember that analogy that I used once upon a time is like the highway, and each lane is a division of real estate, and everybody's over here in the far left lane that's residential, right? We're all in that one lane. If we're all in the same lane, are we getting anywhere? That lane is full. You can still be in residential, but you can create your own lane that is a residential with a specialty. Who do you serve that's different? How do you do it differently? It's not even the who necessarily. The priorities need to be the things that equate to a paycheck, to conversations. And I'll start with the conversations before the paycheck, because remember, the sales cycle is you don't get paid until you actually generate a lead. And when I say generating a lead, it means you're generating an opportunity. The problem is you guys are looking for somebody that says, I want to buy a house, help me tomorrow. We don't have a lot of those. There are not low-hanging fruit that's just sitting there waiting to be plucked. There are people that are thinking about buying, but they're not sure yet about the process. They're not sure who to help. They're scared about what this is going to look like and what it's going to cost them. They're scared about what does this mean, committing to a house. Remember, you got to understand the person that you serve is going to have their own fears. And are you prioritizing the things on your calendar that are important to you to move your business forward, but they are not important in terms of how you show up for your clients, the skill set that you have, the opportunities that you generated to talk to? You're prioritizing low-level things that do not equate to a paycheck. And what I was saying about the whole hourly rate, we've done this activity one other time where if you're not sure what your hourly rate is, take your average sales price that you normally sell and estimate the number of hours it takes you to earn that from start to finish. For me, for most of my transactions, I could be in and out in about 18 to 20 hours total, start to finish with a client. Some of you have been kicking around a buyer for a year. You might be 380 hours in. I don't know. But your average investment of time in a client divided by the commission that you would have earned. So a $500,000 house is 15 grand. We're just going to use that number for giggles right now. 15 grand divided by 20 hours is my hourly rate. And I coach my clients to put a sticky note and put that hourly rate on their laptop off the corner or somewhere where they can see it. Because when you sit down to this computer and you start playing on ChatGPT or Claude or any of the other tools and things that we have, and you look up at the clock and you notice that 2.5 hours went by, you just cost yourself $450 or whatever your hourly rate was times 2. So I want you to get better at prioritizing your time. I want you to get better identifying what systems do you need to avoid the chaos that exists in your business right now. What systems do I need that I don't have? The other thing you need to learn are boundaries. This is the part that came real prominent to me after losing my mother, was that I didn't have very good boundaries. I would be the popcorn realtor that if somebody said they wanted to see a house, I would immediately pop up and go show it, right? If somebody said, can you call me at 6:30? I did not mind putting my family on pause and delaying dinner and making everybody wait because I was trying to earn a living and I was trying to collect a check. So what happened was my family got the crumbs of what was left over. That's not fair to them either, just because I didn't have systems in place or structure or boundaries to protect my time. The last thing you need is a rhythm. If you are showing up every day and you don't even know what to do on a daily basis, you don't have a daily rhythm. You don't even know how you're supposed to be showing up for your business every day. So you need clarity on who you serve. You need to prioritize your time. You need to utilize systems that help you run more efficiently and effectively so that things don't slip through the cracks, that you don't find out that your next door neighbor listed their house with somebody else, or that all the people in your database have bought a house from somebody else because you didn't call them. Right? That was for you, Amy. And for everybody else that has the same problem. It's not just you. You need boundaries to protect yourself from yourself. And you need a rhythm. And structure is not restriction. Structure is support. And structure actually creates freedom. 5 places chaos lives in your schedule. Are you in control of your schedule or someone else? Chaos lives in your lead generation. Where are leads coming in through? Where are they slipping through the cracks? What is my follow-up plan, which is number 3? Your chaos lives in your follow-up. Do you implement the same follow-up strategy for every single client that you have or opportunity that you have? Are you going 7 to 10 touches on every lead that you have? And then chaos lives in your operations. Your daily rhythm is the operations. What do I do on Mondays? What do I do on Thursdays? What do I do on Saturdays and Sundays? When do we make our money, y'all? Realtors, when do we make our money? Amy, I know you said it out loud, but you were muted. Tell me.
Closing table.
At the closing table. And what day of the week do we typically have to work in order to earn our money?
Saturdays and Sundays.
Saturdays and Sundays, in the evenings, on the holidays, right? That is when most buyers and sellers are not working their job, that they have time to meet with you and go look at houses and things, right? But so many of you are so exhausted by the weekend because you have worked yourself to the bone Monday through Friday with no structure, that you're not showing up as the best version of yourself on the days where you actually need to show up as the best. The chaos is preventing you from showing up as the most energetic and excited person on a Saturday that your client deserves. And then the chaos shows up in your decision making. We do not make good decisions when we are stressed, when we are in chaos, when we are broke, when we have money stresses. We don't make great decisions, right? So if everything matters, nothing gets protected. You've got to prioritize what matters more than anything else. The revenue chaos, which is the emotional roller coaster, and I know we all can relate to this, but this is the cycle that exists in our industry if you don't take charge of it. You have a great month. I have months where some months I have made $40,000 or 60 grand in one month. The next month, I might not have made anything, right? Then panic sets in because I don't know where the next check's coming from. Then all of a sudden, because I'm panicked and stressed, I buckle down and start doing the things I know I need to do, which I recover from. And then the next month is great. And then we repeat the cycle over and over and over again. That cycle is exhausting. And if everything lives in your head, you, my dears, are the bottleneck. So the freedom framework that I want you to understand is I want you to audit your true reality. Where is the chaos showing up in my business? Not your ideal schedule, but what really is your schedule? What is actually reflected on your schedule? And is your schedule a reflection, your calendar, a reflection of where your business is headed? And a reflection of high value activities that lead to a paycheck. Remove the noise. Complexity kills momentum. The more challenging, difficult, noisy it is, and more distraction it is, the less momentum you have. It's harder to carry the momentum up the hill when you're carrying a backpack full of crap, a backpack full of chaos. That's the analogy I want you to think of. You cannot get momentum to build your business this way if you have 100-pound weights down here holding you down. I want you to build rhythm, which means consistency beats intensity. A lot of us show up in a sprint 2-3 days a week. And the reality is that you don't have to sprint 2 days a week. You can have consistency every day that brings you peace. Protect your revenue. Income producing activities come first, even when you don't want to do them. Because remember, your feelings don't pay your bills. If they did, I would be very wealthy because I got a lot of feelings, right? And I want you to automate or delegate. I want you to stop being the bottleneck of your business. So some operating system examples might be that Mondays might be your CEO day. That means you're doing some of the admin functions because you're catching up from a weekend of client-facing activities. Maybe you wrote offers that weekend. Maybe you held open houses. Whatever it is. So Monday might be your CEO day. Tuesday might be a delivery day, and that might be the day that I give out all my seller reports every week for my sellers to give them the information about what activity we've had on their property for the whole week. Wednesday is sales day. That is where I am literally hunting and fishing for opportunities. I am scouring Zillow. I do that every day, but this is the day where I am only focused on filling my pipeline. Thursday might be a build day, and that might be a day where I actually create assets that I need to run my business. Maybe I have a client that's coming into town that is a big golfer, and I want to put together the thing that says a playbook, all things golf for Asheville. Friday is content day. So I'm going to batch all of my content for social media on Friday. The reality is that I don't even worry about content or social media because I have systems and tools that do that for me automatically. I want you to understand that structure creates freedom, and I want you to have freedom. I don't want you to be handcuffed to this business. I don't want you to be handcuffed to not knowing where your next check is coming from. I'm going to check the chat. I'm leaving this on the screen for you while I'm checking the chat. I do have a cost of chaos analysis for you. It takes about 5 to 6 minutes for you to finish it. If you take that cost of chaos analysis, it will give you back a report of areas where you can improve in your business and some of just identifying where the chaos actually exists and then giving you some solutions to how to fix that chaos. So I wanted to give you something really valuable for being here on the call today. Thank you so much. And I wanted to give you something tangible that you could walk away with to help you regain the confidence that you need to run your business. Manda, I can absolutely help you with how to be unique in your work. That's my specialty in helping agents figure out their lane. So you can reach out to me anytime to get on my calendar for that. Let's see. Closed and funded. Yep, that's when we get paid, Amber. Thank you. And even while on vacation, yes, true, true, true. This is always recorded. Thank you so much for being here. So did everybody get the QR code? Anybody have any questions or comments about anything we talked about today? Any input? Was this helpful to you? How about that? Let's start there. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate you with the thumbs up. Yes, Amanda, you can reach out to me through the email that I provided. That's the easiest way. Or if you do this cost of chaos assessment, it'll automatically come to me as well. Um, Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that you found value in this. The last piece that I just want to leave you with, did everybody get the QR code? Because I'm going to go to the last screen of the slide if you guys are all good. I think she also put it in the chat for the link if you didn't get the QR code. The last slide is just to subscribe to our newsletter so that we can make sure you're kept up to date about the things that we're offering. Remember, I'm here every third week of the month. So please come back, obviously, and support all the speakers, but I hope that I get to see you again. And I really hope that if you took nothing else from this talk, is that I want you to have a thriving business. I want you to have peace and freedom in your life. The only way you're going to get peace and freedom in this business is going to be you inserting structure and systems and boundaries to protect what you build. So start with the chaos, the cost of chaos analysis. And if I can be of any help to any of you, please reach out. And I'm really grateful that you guys were here today, even those that were supposed to have the day off today. Thank you for showing up. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope that I get to see you guys soon. Thank you. See you guys. I'll stay on for just a few minutes in case anybody has any questions, but you guys go out and kill it today. Thanks for the thumbs up, Janine. Have a good day. Jean, if you want some help on listings, you reach out to me. I can help give you some resources that can help get you started on refining your listing process, okay?
Thank you, because
You're very welcome.
I
You're very
really
welcome.
need that.
You got it. I got you.
All right. I'll
All
send you,
right. Have a
I'll
good
send you an
day.
email.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Hey, Laura, we'll end the call now.
Thank you,
Thank you.
love. Have a good